Hello, I'm going to show you how to basically set up Stellarium so you're ready to go for something like a celestial coordinates lab. So on my desktop, I'm going to double click on Stellarium. It takes a moment, and the default, it comes up as today at our location with the sky and the landscape turned on, as if you step out into the field. Of course, this picture here is from southern France. You can change it. I think there are a couple of other options, but I'm not going to worry about that now, since we're going to look at the night sky or the sky without clouds or without landscape. When you move the cursor around, you can see that on the bottom left, there are menu bars with menu options and icons for settings. They keep going away if you move your cursor away. We can pin them in place by clicking on the little black arrows and turn them into squares. So now they're pinned in place and they'll stay. If at any point we want to get rid of them again, we can change by clicking on the black squares, change them back to the arrows. So first, the location window, we want to make sure that we're at our location or the location that you intend. So by default, that would be in Snellville, even though technically I'm in Lowburn, but close enough to Snellville, so that works. Then we have the latitude, the longitude. You can set it to anything you want. So if you want to set it to a different city, you can enter a different city here or look through the list. You can even change it to different planets, different time zones. So we're in the New York or Eastern time zone right now. Or you have other options to change the coordinates directly, get your location from the GPS, so you can play around with that. But the basic setup is for here and now. So we've verified that's the case. Then the next window is date and time. So today we have February 4th, 2021, and you would be able to adjust this. So if you want to fast forward by a day, you could go to February 7th, 8th, and so on by using the arrows. Back that back up to the 4th. If you wanted to adjust the time, you can also do that with the arrows, and you can see the sun is setting. We're getting darker and darker, and this is how from 1 hour to the next our sky would look. But let's back that up to the present time. You could go by minutes, you could go by seconds. So we're fine with that. And you can also see that Stellarium is set so that time passes as if it passes in real life. You can stop the passage of time by going down to the play button, and now we would have paused it. Let's resume that for now. Okay, these windows, they will stay ghosted like that, or you can make them vanish by just Xing them out. We'd like to see where the constellations are. So we can put in constellation lines. You can put in constellation labels. You could put in constellation art, just going across the bottom row of settings here, but that can cover up other things, so I usually stay away from that. Constellation boundaries are very useful. So if the planet is inside the boundaries of that constellation, that is to be considered the constellation of the planet. Okay, and then we also like the equatorial grid with right ascension and declination. The equatorial grid, which is the most useful if you're doing something like a celestial coordinate lab, where you look at the position of objects in the sky with respect to constellations or with respect to the celestial equator or the ecliptic or other lines like that. Of course, now we're still during daytime, so lots of stars are in the sky, but we can't see them. Since the sunlight is scattered through the atmosphere and tinges the sky blue, we can get rid of the landscape, and we can also get rid of the sky entirely. So this is what we would see if neither the atmosphere would be there, nor the Earth would be there. So the Earth is not in the way anymore. We want to get a couple more lines and points defined that are going to help us keep track of where things are in the sky and how we're oriented. And since the Earth is gone now, it would be nice to have a horizon line so we know that at this time and date, what we see above the horizon, we would be able to see in the sky, but what is below the horizon, we wouldn't see in real life because the Earth is in the way. So we're going to go back to the left over here. And this time we're going to go to the third button from the top, which is Sky and Viewing Options window. And we're going to keep going and look for markings. These are the markings in the celestial sphere or in the sky that we can turn on. So you see there's a whole bunch of options, but the more we turn on, the more confusing it's going to get. So we'll just stick to the basics. You see that some are already selected. We have the equatorial grid. We have the cardinal points, which are the directions north, south, east, west, and so on. Another helpful line would be the equator. This is the celestial equator, or the line in the sky directly above Earth's equator. So let's pick equator of date. Then we also want the path of the sun in the sky. So the path of the sun in the sky is the ecliptic. We also want the celestial poles. So we're clicking that on, celestial poles of date. This is where Earth's rotational axis points to in the sky. So those are the points in the sky directly above Earth's geographic North Pole and Earth's geographic South Pole. And that's the horizon line. So let's get back to the markings and click on the horizon line. Okay, so now you can see this horizon line is the dividing line where the landscape was before. So today, February 4th at 4:30 p.m. or 1629 military time, looking south, those are the constellations up in the sky that we would see if it weren't for the sun scattering its light through the atmosphere. And everything that's below the horizon, this is where the Earth would be in the way and we wouldn't be able to see at that time and date. Now what you can do is you can click and drag the screen. So now we're looking towards west-southwest. This is where the sun is right now. So you can see that it's setting pretty much, will be setting shortly. Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, they're all up in the sky, but they're so close to the sun we can't see them because the sun is still up. And then, of course, they will be setting ahead of the sun. So after the sun has set, they've also already set. Right here, you can see the ecliptic coming in. Since the ecliptic is the path of the sun in the sky through the constellations, day after day after day, that's where you always see the sun on the ecliptic. Okay, and here you see the ecliptic is crossing our horizon, so that's where the sun will be when it sets. Okay, we're continuing, clicking and dragging. Yeah, click and drag pretty quickly, because if you click once, slowly, then you'll get a lot of information come up on the left, because most likely there's going to be a star, because the sky is just full of stars, and then all the statistics of that star will clutter up what is over there in the upper left region of the sky. Okay, so now we're looking north. And you can see the North Celestial Pole. Polaris is the pole star that is currently closest to the North Celestial Pole. Okay, and here we have the north point of our horizon. Now, if you wanted to exit the full screen view, you can click F11. This is for PC and the Windows system. There is a version for Mac. You can look up the instructions for Mac in that version. I only know how to use PCs, sorry. Okay, and sometimes when you, click back and maximize it again, in case you want to switch to anything else on your desktop, that button bar appears, which I find really useful. So F11 gets you out of the full screen mode, and then, you can toggle back and forth. Some other useful features, you can advance the time, fast forward. The more often you click on it, the faster the time will move forward. Yikes, okay. You can stop the forward motion. Now it's going back to the present rate. But if you want to reset it to the original value, you can click the button directly to the right of the play button. So if at any one point you want the sky to pause, you click on the play button to enable the pause. And then if you want to have the time continue, click the play button again. You can also go backwards in time. And the more often you repetitively click on the backwards button, the quicker it'll go. But before we get motion sick, yikes, let's just click the regular play button again. Okay, so those are pretty much the basics to get you oriented in Stellarium and to get you started with your Stellarium-based labs.